everyone, this is EJ Lightning 007 here, and welcome to another review. Today, I'm going to be doing the Delorean Time Machine Moc out of Lego, which is something I have made back in July and then all the way to September. And I put this on hold since I needed to find ways to build this and even release the dates on the events of Back to the Future, either Back to the Future Part 2, but I like to release this on the date the first movie took place, October 26, 1985, but the video will not be uploaded around 1:18 a.m. because, yeah, I would probably be in bed at the time, so, yeah. Anyway, I came up with this idea ever since, when I looked back at my Lego DeLorean, which is this thing right here, I'll get in the frame. Yeah, everyone would complain that this one is probably the most dated DeLorean since it has nothing to do looking like a DeLorean time machine. Sorry, I had to get rid of the painter's tape out of the way, but anyway, you don't have to see it on camera, but yeah, you can see the way that this DeLorean was built because of the front hood of the car, the back side, which is this thing right here, as well as even the interior, and yeah, and even as well as having the cheapest way to actually have the doors put on. Put it back on. There we go. So put that aside, I'll also do a little bit of comparison with this set with all its different variants, and then I'm going to tell you which it will be better, but at least we all know this one is definitely more accurate. I based this design on Dadnastailga's DeLorean design on Imgur, which I was browsing around to like all fan-made built versions of the DeLorean, and this one, the Dadnastailgic build, caught my eye because the way it was built and designed, it definitely screams DeLorean. But I even had to change some of the builds so to make it a little bit more screen accurate and even trying to capture the likeness of the real car. But you can see how nice and beautiful it looks. And yeah, and even though there are going to be a little bit of flaws on the way on the build, but anyway, yeah, but I'm happy the way it looks. And I'm also going to be changing all different variants of the time machine there in all three versions. Now, the total of the variants is actually the total amount of 5, which one happened to case on being the same as one phase, which you'll see later on. But at least it's going to look pretty cool. Now, let's start off with the design. So your guy, now you can actually see how I got the front hood sort of like in a good slope to capture the likeness on the actual car. Here it is. I have a little hinged piece. Oh, wait, yeah, I don't actually have a hinged piece. Sorry. Now, if you guys are curious on how I built this nice, beautiful front hood, a lot better than the ugly version in 2013, is I built this special front hood with 3 2x4 flat pieces with a 1x6 piece, and then you can see like how I built this. So if you ever plan about building this, just use some of the photo references. I'm probably not going to take this apart to do a little bit of diagramming, but you can see how I actually made the front piece. I have a one flat piece built up a little higher just to give this a nice snug piece. I originally had one the bending 1x2 pieces, which I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's one of these which I actually use for the cooling vents. But now I'm not experienced much on the name of the pieces, but I am pretty good with knowing my parts. Start away. You can see the front the front headlights, which is a nice, beautiful build. capturing more the likeness of the real car, as well as the grid time traveling pieces. Now, of course, I did a very special build where I actually can swap the nice chromy silver pieces with the actual trans blue pieces, but even though it's not going to be as accurate to the real thing, since yeah, so yeah, you can see I actually did it the same way, capturing more of the likeness. The back headlights, of course, being close to the real car, very nice. And then I even did a much more nicer design of the back piece to capture more of the realism of the car. And then also the version I'm starting off right now is the Mark I version of the DeLorean time machine from the first movie. So we have the plutonium chamber. Now what I did was, I can actually take this apart. Hold up, sorry. My parts are actually falling apart. Anyway, so what I did was I took one of the old Lego wheels from out of the car, and then I actually used the 1x1 plate, not plate, but the circular pieces, and then I used a black 1x1 piece, and then also a yellow one, and then I sticked it on to the back neck like this. Make sure it's nice and center, and there you go. I have the DeLorean time machine capturing the very first movie. And I also did use some of the original DeLorean pieces from the Lego set. I would also have to address that I actually had two Lego DeLorean time machines. I kept the old one intact while I have this one. I took the other one apart, and of course I even have to dig out some of my parts to find the original parts from the Lego DeLorean, but the only thing I found was the 2015 license plate, which you'll see later on. But I did have a case of finding the flux capacitor and the time circuits, but you're going to see a different time circuit later on in a minute. And so, but it's not until I found it. But yeah, I said before, like, I found the flux capacitor and the time circuit piece, but I did not find the California time license plate, which is this thing right here. So I had to order it on Bricklink, and then as well as eBay as well. Since there's some stories going on with me buying things on Bricklink, like especially have to pay it on PayPal, which, yeah, me and my dad never want to have PayPal. Like, actually, I am kind of concerned about PayPal, but my dad is not too fondly on PayPal. But anyway, you can, but I don't want to explain too much since I'm focusing on the DeLorean, not the my thing all about the build. But yeah, there's some stories about me building this, but anyway. So you can also see that I even use one of the leverage pieces with the Technip pieces to make the front windshield, make it nice and slick. And yeah, if you also notice that I actually used some actual cords to make the design of the time machine as accurate, or to capture the likeness of the real car. Now, I originally was going to use Lego pieces, but I actually thought this one is a little bit more nicer. But yeah, there are some other ways to actually make your own cables, or you can just skip on it. Yeah, and also, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I had to fix that piece. Anyway, the doors can actually open, but at least the parts can actually still stick on together. Now, we open this part just to get a little bit more lighting. You can see, we have the flux capacitor right here. And yeah, this is actually still the original Back to the Future DeLorean set with the misspelt shield, as you can see on camera. Now, I did actually order the proper one, but of course, it's all the way back in my hometown, so I'm going to have to get my hands on that if I ever have the chance, or just get my dad to actually send me that if I actually needed to or something. And you can see the interior is a lot more nicer than the original set, which I'll get on camera later on, but you can see it's nice and seated. Got the much more accurate interiors, as well as having your speedometer, and well as the time circuits and the plutonium speedometer. Sorry, not a good framing. Hold on, I'm gonna have to stick it to here since it doesn't like to be focused on, but you can definitely see that I made a new special print for the time circuit just to make it more screen accurate. And you can actually see inside, you can actually tell you're in some good quality. If you can actually see this in good high definition, you can definitely see that there are actual time circuits. Like there's actually the date, month, and year, as well as the time, clearly. But even though the color is a little bit wash, since I have to use what was it called again? This glue, the sealer. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it that. I'm gonna have to try this again. So yeah, it seems like the DeLorean doesn't like. So yeah, my camera doesn't seem to like to actually focus on the actual front hood of the car, but you can see that we got a nice view of the front interior with the new printed time circuit, which it is custom by me on, which I use Adobe Illustrator to make the main piece, as well as putting on the dates, months, year, and time. Now, although it's pretty clear, you can actually see some of the date. You can actually see the dial clearly in good high definition, but it's going to be hard to actually see the color because I used the sealer glue to actually stick it on there, so it's going to actually be a little bit tricky to actually get the actual color in. I think this is the reason why I think the time circuit, it has to be just focusing more on the destination time and the actual time that you're on. But yeah, I mean, at least I tried to capture more of the likeness of the real car. Then we got also the dials for the time circuit, the shifter majig. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to call it that for now, but I'm pretty sure you guys know your cars. They have the speedometer as well as the plutonium, the switch as well, which you already seen. So yeah, this is the first version of the DeLorean. And yeah, and also the wheels, it's a much more nicer design. And for the wheels, I actually used sports car wheels from a Lego sports car set, just to give it a nice, unique realism to the car, just to capture more likeness to the real car. And I even used one of the pole pieces to make the side details of the car. And I kept, and I even had the little back piece here as well. Those little tube pieces here as well. And I gotta say, it's a really nice looking way to capture more likeness to the car. And put the whole build back together. Hold on. Gotta put it on. Hey, close the car. So yeah, this is my first version of the DeLorean time machine. And we'll put it aside with the original Lego set. You can see this is a much more nice, slicker version, without the cramped interior. So we got the original DeLorean, it sits on the right, and then the Moc version on the left. You can see this is a much more nicer design of the original. Right here, you're against this version. But of course, I'm going to have all different variants of the time machine once I'm at it. So next up I'll have is the lightning rod version of the time machine for this build. Now for the build for the lightning rod, it's pretty simple. Now, of course, there is a way to actually put the lightning rod, this is the lightning rod, into the DeLorean. So what you have to do is, first you can remove one of the binocular pieces for the time traveling grids, or simple and easy is by taking apart the top hood. Oops, my bad. And then remove this piece here. There is a 1x4 2-layer piece with a flat plate here. As you can see, here there's a 1x2 tube piece. There's connectors, as I would like to call it. Then you take this 1x4 brick piece built, stick it on to here, and then finally get the put the DeLorean, then put the front pieces back in place. Gotta line up the front windshield, and there you go. Alright, now this is the lightning rod piece that I have built for the DeLorean time machine. What I use is one of the longer pole pieces that runs all the way up from top to bottom, and I even had one of the 1x1 cylinder pieces. And when I zoom out, you can see that I made a custom hook piece, which is made from a paper clip with one of the Technic pieces right here. And I think it looks pretty cool. There's nothing much to talk about the lightning rod version of the DeLorean. It's just basically the first movie DeLorean, but added in an extra accessory. So moving on to the ones that everyone knows and love more, which they always like to make a version of the time machine of. Okay, now for the second version of Back to the Future Part 2 / the ending of Back to the Future 1 is, as you can tell, I actually removed the plutonium chamber, on which is where it sets, as well as I have my own custom-made build Mr. Fusion, which all you have to do is just stick it on like that. So for Mr. Fusion is I use one of the gear pieces on the bottom, and then there's a simple soft gear piece, and then I had one of the cylinder Technic pieces with the with one of the not sure what again, I'm not good with pieces name, but I know what they are. Basically, one of the Technic brick hold tube pieces. That's what I'm going to call it for now. And then as well, I used one of the bendable pieces to shorten to fit the DeLorean here, as you can see. And for swapping the original 1985 license plates with the 2015 version, gotta take this 1x1 plate piece, stick it on like this, and voila, put it on back on. So yeah, we got the original. So yeah, we got the 2015 version of the DeLorean, my personal favorite version of the time machine, just to give it a much more futuristic look. So yeah, this is my favorite version of the DeLorean time machine, since it gives it a much more unique futuristic look. Now, you might be asking, how do you make the hovering system? Or how do you put in the hovering system since the car can fly? Well, it's simple. in the bottom piece, on the bottom, you can see that there's some Technic pin pieces. Push these outwards, like so, like in the movie. Okay. It's a little tricky. If you can actually get your fingers in there, it's gonna be. It's pretty unique, but still, it's pretty hard to actually do. And then finally, put the tires down, like so. And there you go. We have the hovering system of the DeLorean time machine. And then you stick their custom built trans piece built of the DeLorean. And there you go. You have the hovering system version of the DeLorean time machine. And yeah. Now for the original DeLorean, this thing right here, of course. Now the way that it was built for the 2015 version / Back to the Future Part 2 is it had its very own built Mr. Fusion, which it doesn't look anything much like the DeLorean, to be honest. Which, yeah, actually everyone knows that this is not the right Mr. Fusion. But at least it had a much more simple way to actually take this piece out. Swap the California at time license plate and then add in the 2015 version. And then it goes like this. And then for the hovering system, at least it has a much more safer way is by pushing the tires down like so. And now it's in hovering system. Now you notice that I'm using the Part 2, the actual Lego sets hovering system, so I'm gonna properly swap those back out with the parts I'm gonna use for now until I have to make a much more safe way. It's not the best way to actually have the DeLorean like this, since it's gonna actually just be flopping around so, but now I'm adding in the hovering system for the DeLorean. Oh, one of the pieces fell out. Alright, and there you go. Now, at least, of course, the build for Mr. Fusion is a lot more accurate than the Legos version, which is just a unrecognizable Mr. Fusion, but at least the way you can actually put in the hovering system is alright. My version, of course, is just basically a little bit like it's going to be falling off, but it looks a little alright on the top side, but at least it does the job done. I think it probably looks like that as well in some shots in the movie, but that's just my understatement. But what's your guys' opinion on this? Now, for the Part 3 version of the DeLorean time machine, is you have to swap out the original 1985 wheels with the nice, slickish 1955 red and white wheels, which I customized the actual white sports wheels with a cardboard painted cardboard piece with a 1x1 flat plate piece, just to give it a nice slickest look. Yes, but even though a much more easier way can also be using one of the colorful crafting papers, and then cutting in the shape, puncturing the hole to actually fit the piece there. And yeah, now I know what you're all going to be saying right now. EJ, in the third Back to the Future movie, the DeLorean had like some sort of like control box on the front hood. Where is that? Well, it's simple. I have it right here. Sorry, that's a bad joke, but yeah, you can actually take the original front hood piece apart and then place this into that. There you go. We have the original. Now we have the Back to the Future Part 3 version DeLorean with the control box and the 1955 wheels. Now, even though it's a little bit overscaled, but at least I tried my best to make it a lot more screen accurate, just capture more likeness to the real car. And I think it looks pretty nice. Even though it's going to be big and it's going to be like in the way with some minifigures if they're going to be driving this thing. But yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I'm going to be talking about. And yeah, Mr. Fusion is still going to be on there as well. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Now, Lego's version of the DeLorean is probably my opinion, as well as other opinions, your guys' opinion, is the more laziest version. Now, they had the red wheels, but it's missing the white piece that goes around the car like this. And also, they are using like a tannish Technic pieces instead of a light gray Technic piece. Now, I did actually use a tan Technic piece for the wheels, but it's not seen in this since it makes a little more sense. But as well as as lazy as the wheels are, at least it's sort of a little clever on actually removing a 1x4 flat piece, yes, and then having its your 1955 control box replacement on there. It looks alright and all. Not as accurate to the actual movie version, but at least it looks pretty nice. Now, I will have to address that I did actually happen to case in customizing the red wheels with a little bit of some white on the rim, which I'm going to show you right now to see a much more cleverness on the customizing on fans like me on their official Lego set. There we go. Much better. You can definitely see the much more accurate version of the DeLorean on how it should have been like this. But actually my version, at least it's a lot more better since I'm capturing more likeness to the realness of the actual DeLorean, just like most fans are doing it. So yeah, this one is based out on this one. And now I'm going to be moving on to the last version of the DeLorean Time Machine. And now, finally, we come to the final version of the DeLorean Time Machine. Is the taking place still back in the third Back to the Future movie is the train wheel version DeLorean. Now, I got the train tracks ready. You can see, just like all my previous wheels from 1955 as well as the 1985 wheels, I replaced them with the 1885 wheels. And I have to slightly push them out forward since they are a little bit exposed in the actual movie. Hold on, I'm just going to do this again as well. There we go. And, of course, I just wanted to point out, if you're actually going to try attempting building something like this, if you actually just put on the DeLorean and its train tracks like this, that's not going to work. Since it's just going to like flop around, just do nothing. So I came up with a clever conclusion where I made a miniaturized version of the train wheels using 2x4 brick builds, which I had to take apart the actual Lego DeLorean's Part 3 control box for this, since I don't have black ones. Then I put them next to the wheels like this. Alright, here we go. And now, just line them up properly. Oh, something fell. Oh. There we go. Hold on, make sure they're nice and aligned. Yep, they're aligned. Make sure they're nice and aligned. And now, the DeLorean can actually go on train wheels. Nice and straight. Now, even though... Now, this is not too much as accurate to the actual car. But if Lego ever brings back the Lego DeLorean set, they have to improve their... I want to see if they can actually improve their actual build for the train wheels, so you can actually have this just be pushed. And even though in the movie it didn't actually move on its own since it was already out of gas. So you're definitely going to need a locomotive train for this one. But if you have a case of having a locomotive train, I would definitely say I would recommend the Lego Lone Ranger, the Constitution train chase set, because this one is pretty close to the actual Back to the Future train, the locomotive. Since it has a simple design like that, and I think it would work pretty perfect for a Back to the Future Part 3 scene, to recreate the scene when Marty and Doc are trying to go back to 1985 with a locomotive train. And yeah. So yeah, this is probably the DeLorean Back to the Future Part 3 version with the train wheels. And yeah, speaking of the minifigures, I'm gonna show you how I actually get the figures inside. Oh yeah, one more thing. The actual Lego Back to the Future DeLorean set doesn't actually go on train wheels since it didn't include any train wheels. And you can definitely see that it definitely does not work for train wheels. So yeah, don't expect having a DeLorean set to go on train wheels. And now, also, I should have also addressed that for the custom version of the DeLorean going up 88 miles per hour, and then also exposing some of the blue on the gridded rims on the side and the front, is I used trans blue pieces all around the where the silver pieces were, and I gotta say they look pretty damn cool. With the pieces like this. And yeah, I think that's all I have to share. Now I'm going to move on to testing out fitting in the minifigures in the car. First I'm going to have to take the pieces out and then replace them with the original trans pieces. Now I'm going to show you guys how you can actually put in your minifigures in the DeLorean. The Moc version, of course. Alright, so I brought in my two minifigures, Marty McFly and Dr. Emmett Brown. You know, Emmett is actually my real name, and there's a character that actually has my name. But anyway, never mind that. So, what you're going to do is, of course, you're going to have to open your gullwing doors. Just position them in place. So I start with Marty. And yeah, actually putting in minifigures is actually going to be a lot tricky than expected. And for the interior, you're going to have to find a way how to play loosey-goosey. Yeah, and yeah, it's also going to be challenging because if you're going to put in minifigures, the top part of the time machine is actually going to move up a bit, as well as the more trickier part is trying to get the doors closed in and having them nice and snugged, which has always not been the fun part of the build. So I have to have Doc like this. Alright, there we go. So yeah, minifigures are in place, and you can definitely tell that the DeLorean is a little bit... you can definitely see how this is is moving up, and it's kind of hard to actually do something like this. So yeah, definitely I want to see Lego actually improve on their build. So yeah, it's also hard to actually do something like that. So yeah, this is the best I can do. So yeah, the figures are nice and snugged in here. As you can see right here. And yeah, some of the parts are pretty hard to actually tricky as well. Sorry all these pauses from this whole video. Ah! Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is how the official, not the official, but this is how the Lego DeLorean Moc fits your minifigure in here. Anyway, I'm going to try this again with the the LEGO Dimensions version dock and see how extra tricky it is to actually put him in here. So I got rid of the actual Doc Brown from the actual official set, and now I'm going to put him in as so. So yeah, having Doc with this hairpiece is actually going to be the hard part, since this has not been my favorite part of this. Alright, there we go. So yeah, you can see they're now nice and snugged in there. Yeah, it's going to be pretty... So yeah, if you ever build this, it's always going to be tricky. Just keep in mind, this has always been the tricky part to actually keep minifigures in place, while putting in the DeLorean. While putting them in the DeLorean. So yeah, they're nice and snugged in there. Yeah, all that stuff. And now I'm going to show you how you can actually fit minifigures in the actual official set. If you guys actually recall remembering that experience, if you had this set. Now the official set is probably the weakest one in this whole putting in figures in the actual set. So you can either open up the interior or take apart the interior. I should have done that before, but yeah, you could actually see where this is going to be going. So we put in Marty, who's already been nice and snugged, and the official Lego Doc Brown figure. Not the Lego Dimensions Doc, since I don't want to put him in it. Well, at least it looks alright, but yeah, at least putting in the figures is alright. But the way how this is probably turning out, but now get him out is probably the harder part. Alright, so yeah, at least putting in the figures in the interior looks a bit okay, but they look a little silly when they're poking their heads out like that, which I don't think this is how Lego would actually do this. Okay, so I tried it again, and at least it looks a lot better now. And yeah, I think that's going to be it with the official Lego DeLorean Moc build that I have done. And I gotta say, this has probably been my more favorite thing I built. This is a much more nicer and more slicker version of the official DeLorean time machine. And if Lego ever plans on bringing back the Lego DeLorean sets, I would like to see them improve the building techniques, make it a lot more accurate to the real DeLorean, maybe add a few extra accessories, like have like the plutonium box with plutonium, have Marty and Doc have like arm and leg printings, for my opinion. I mean, I actually done something like that before. I mean, I already done Marty and Doc in actual arm and leg printings. If you guys want to see that, let me know, and I'll be glad to actually show you all my custom minifigures of Marty and Doc in all Back to the Future movies, and also include Einstein in the Lego set as well. Because Einstein was also a part of the time machine as well. They've done this as well with the Playmobil version of Back to the Future. Even though I never actually own it, but I hope I will. But if I'm gonna get one, I think I will do so as well if it's still in stocks. Oh, and also maybe have some new pieces for both the train wheel one, the Mr. Fusion, and yeah, and I think I'll also come up with some more, and also maybe have some more better build. So yeah, just overall maybe better build extra minifigures such as the different attires in all three movies, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm EG Lighten 007. If you like this video, leave some likes. Follow me on DeviantArts and Facebook for further updates. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll be back in another video. Stay groovy. So if you guys are... sorry. Okay, you can see this is a much more slicker design of the the front side of the DeLorean. You can see I actually made a hold up. Hold on, not a frame. Focus. Focus. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, if I swear I'm gonna have... Okay, here we go. Yeah, it doesn't like to be focused on, but anyway. Ah! Which, this is where one set. Oh, and something built. Something dropped, so I'm gonna have to cut there. So yeah, that's my DeLorean. Oh no! This is a much more proper way to actually have... Ah, no!